the screen. We were originally asking for a 4% fixed interest rate for a year. You know, we know that 90% of all the loans in our country, FHA, VA, Freddie, Fannie, you know, our government's providing that. So we were pushing for that. Richard, who's down there every week, said, you know, we need to back off of that. So I backed off of that next week when we went to Washington, D.C., because he said that would not happen. But we continue to push for a $15,000 tax credit. Obviously, we didn't get that. I think if we would have gotten the $15,000 tax credit, I think the move-up buyer and the move-down buyer would be in the market. I don't think $6,500 has got their attention. But again, I guess, I don't want to hate this word, but beggars can't be choosers. So, you know, we were happy to get the extension, and, you know, hopefully we can take that and run with it. So we do have momentum, and we need to take advantage of this. Inventory now the last few months has been down, which is good. I mean, that's a good thing because that puts less pressure on prices. But ladies and gentlemen, the inventory levels are going to start to go up in this country, and I'll talk about that a little bit later with all the foreclosures that are still going to be hitting the market. Nationally, last year our inventory level approached 10 months, and by the way, a 6-month inventory is a balanced market between buyers and sellers. And obviously the inventory levels the last quite a few years has been imbalanced. Nationally, 2 months ago the inventory level was 7.8 months. Last month it was 7.2 months. So it's gone down a little bit, but like I said, it's going to turn right back around and go up. Sales should be up. Sales are up year over year, even though they've declined the last 2 or 3 months. But sales year over year are up. And this month and next month we expect to be literally gangbusters in sales because the tax credit will expire. We've talked personally with Johnny Isaacson. I was at a function with Johnny Isaacson. He said we are not going to extend the tax credit. And really, the National Association, along with Realogy, who is very powerful, Realogy, you know, we control about 25% of all the transactions in this country. The agreement with Congress was we pushed like heck to get the tax credit extended and expanded, but we promised them that we wouldn't push on television. I won't push on television. Richard won't push down in Washington, D.C. The only way that there would be a tax extension again would be if Congress would do this, and I seriously doubt that. So if you're working with any buyers or sellers that are thinking that this tax credit is going to get extended, it's not. So the next 2 months are very, very important, and hopefully we'll have enough momentum over the next couple months that we can get the real estate market going, which is good for the country. So what you need to do is make sure people understand, say what I say on television all the time, if you really believe it, and I know everyone in this room believes it, this is the best darn time ever that I've ever seen to buy real estate. Absolutely. And I personally have done it. I bought investment properties each of the last 3 years, and I think, you know, even though some of them, the value's gone down a little bit, long range, they're going to go up tremendously. But the thing to remember, what I remember when I go on television, I always try to have several points when I go on TV, is triple IP. If you remember triple IP to support what you're talking about with your buyers and sellers. One I is for inventory. You know, inventory levels are up a little bit, and they're going to continue to go up, and the good thing for a buyer is that there's a lot more to choose from. Second is interest rates. Interest rates continue to be near historic lows. That's obviously very much of a positive. The third I is the incentives. And those incentives are going to go away in 57, 56 days, or however many days we've got left until April 30th. And then the P stands for price. Pricing is leveled off. Pricing has gone down in a lot of areas. So, you know, that's a good thing for potential buyers. So triple IP, remember that for when you're talking with folks. All right, let me share a couple things. You know, early on when we were pushing for this tax extension and expansion, people, you know, had some negatives, and all the negatives were not there. First of all, the $8,000 tax credit worked last year, and it is still working now, and we're really going to see the effects of that over the next 50 or 60 days. And history is the best judge of that. You know, why am I so confident the next 2 months are going to be strong? Well, when the tax credit was expanded last year, I think it was early in the year, February or March, the annual resales in our country was about 4.5 million every month. Now what NAR does is they come out with numbers every month, and it's like, you know, 4.5 million, that doesn't mean 4.5 million homes were sold that month. That means the number of homes that sold, if it were spread out over the year, would have been 4.5 million. And that's how NAR does it, and it's actually a good way to do it. So before the tax credit was really extended, from the first tax credit that we had. If you remember back, $7,500, where it had to be paid back over 15 years, which didn't really get anybody's attention, didn't get any of the first-time home buyers attention. Once it was expanded to $8,000 without the payback, it really did work. And again, $4.5 million back in February when it was extended. Towards the end of last year, in the month of November, there were 6.54 million homes sold annualized. So annualized basis, there were 2 million more homes sold towards the end of the year, in November, than there were the early part of the year. So the tax credit is working and will continue to work. And last year, NAR's numbers show that 47% of all the home buyers in the country were first-time home buyers. So it has worked and is continuing to work. Pent-up demand, there's still plenty of pent-up demand out there, even though the number of homes sold has increased. Why do I say that? Well, household creation, first of all, has gone down. Typically in our country, household creation every single year is between 1 and 1.5 million new households being created, new families being created. The last couple of years, that number has been drastically under 1 million. In fact, one of the years, I think last year, was under 500,000. Does that mean households, people aren't creating households? No. What that means is young people are either moving in together, or worse for some of us, moving in with their parents or their grandparents. So there's a lot of pent-up demand still out there. Another concern was, that if we're selling all these homes to first-time home buyers, are there any left? Well, listen to this statistic, and again, this is from our National Association of Realtors. In the year 2000, 10 years ago, there were 11.5 million renters that could afford a medium-priced home in the market that they're in. 11.5 million. This year, there are 16 million renters that can afford a home, a medium-priced home in their particular marketplace. So there are plenty of first-timers out there, and you need to go find them. Not now. Let me finish my speech, but then you need to go out there and find them. The concern that I have, which really is kind of I think, a lost cause, is the move-up buyer. And we talk about the move-up buyer, but there's also move-down buyers. People that are looking to retire, that have put off selling their homes. This $6,500 has not gotten their attention. I travel around the country. In fact, last month's numbers from NAR, 53% of the homes sold in the country were to either move-up or move-down buyers, and that's 5, 6, 7%, which is many homes. So it's not what it should be, which is unfortunate. But still, there is time. I mean, there is still time for the move-up buyer or the move-down buyer. They've got a lot of work to do. They need to get their home listed. They need to get it sold. They need to get it closed. And then they need to get under contract with one of you by April 30th. So there is still time, but it's unfortunate we didn't get the $15,000. Also, people were worried if we did this tax extension and credit that it would artificially spike prices, and obviously that's not the case. There's still a lot of pressure on prices. We still do not have a balanced market. We will not have a balanced market this year, so there is a lot of pressure still on prices, so there's no danger of prices being escalated. We're not also artificially creating demand that's not there, and I touched on that a few minutes ago. We need to remember, and what people forget is people buy homes for lifestyle. I think, one of the issues that sort of got us in trouble, a lot of people thought their homes were piggy banks in the first part of the century. People thought that they would buy a home and it would go up in value and then they could, borrow against the home and so forth. People buy homes, they're back to buying homes the way they should be buying homes, and that's for lifestyle. And lifestyle changes happen all the time, and that's the good news about our great country. What are lifestyle changes? People getting married. Unfortunately, people getting divorced, people having babies, people getting job promotions, people getting job transfers, unfortunately maybe a death in the family, but these are lifestyle changes, and that's what has historically driven our real estate market and will continue to drive our real estate market. Now, what should you do? What should you do out there? You need to go out there with the information on the tax credit. And especially first-time homebuyers probably don't realize what a tax credit is. Tax credit's different than a tax deduction. An $8,000 tax credit means that if you owe the feds this year $5,000 in your taxes, your income taxes, you not only don't pay the $5,000, you get monetarized the difference. You get a $3,000 check. Now, I would venture to say most of those 16 million potential first-time